Hey everyone, it's Dr. Patel here. Today I'm going to be talking about how to conquer indecisiveness. I had talked about being indecisive. I had shot a video a few weeks ago about one of the reasons people don't get their health back is because they're indecisive. And there was one thing I have been thinking about lately as to what is it lately? Some of the things I did come across to kind of just help me understand myself as to why people are so indecisive or why they can't make a decision or how as me as a healthcare practitioner or a coach or someone to help our clients help them kind of become decisive because being indecisive is one of the major factor when it comes to not just health but with anything, school, uh, profession, business, all aspects of our lives. We have to be decisive because, how many times, I'll just talk about my case, when I'm trying to learn something new, I always need to find somebody who could teach me how to do that thing. And so I come across so many people or so many programs, and if I can't make a decision, all it's doing is kind of I'm putting in when I say putting in the effort, meaning all I'm saying, the effort I'm putting is just to say I'm going to do it later, which I end up done doing it, and I end up becoming indecisive, right? Because I don't make a decision, which ends up wasting my time, which ends up costing me a lot more than I probably think about it, which I could, when I kind of, after a few years, when I go back and think about it or look at it, it's kind of like, oh man, I should have done that a long time ago rather than doing it just last year. And again, the major factor behind that is because it is being indecisive. And so, just kind of from my experience and just kind of like, learning from other people, people who have been in the whole spiritual game. Again, by no means I'm trying to be a spiritual guru or expert, but, sometimes there's that, when I say there's that aspect of, I guess, health or decision making. We have to look at it from a different perspective when it comes to it. And recently I've been kind of again following a few spiritual gurus or experts, and just trying to get much information. When I say information, I mean learn much as possible in understanding why we get into the whole. I don't want to call it decision fatigue, but becoming indecisive. So hopefully this video will be able to show you why we get into it, and if it doesn't, that's okay as well. But my goal, I'm just putting it out there as to this is something I came across which I hope to help you become better, be better, in decision making, or become a decisive person rather than being indecisive. Because, you know, being indecisive ends up costing us a lot more than we think, not just in time, effort, energy, money, but a lot more than we ever thought about. It could be with your career, future, family, many, many other aspects of health we didn't, aspect of life we didn't even kind of put it together or thought about. So, again, I hope this helps you in why we become indecisive, especially when it comes to health. And so there's gonna be a few things I'm going to be talking about that plays kind of in a role, and how if you could recognize those and start implementing it, it might help you become better at it. Because again, you have to be decisive when it comes to anything: health, business, work, relationship, family. You have to be decisive. You have to decide if this is for you or not for you. It doesn't have to be yes all the time, but there has to be some kind of decision making process that has to happen. You can't just say, oh, not right now, or maybe other time, or yes, I like it, but it's not for me, or it's simple. It's yes or no. That's what being decisive is. It's a yes or no. There is no, when I think of decisiveness, I look at it as straight up yes or no. There is no in the middle. So before I kind of get into it, I just want to know where you are all watching it from. So comment, share, like. I definitely want to know where you're from, so I kind of see where my audience is from. And if you find this helpful, definitely share it. Again, my goal is I'm talking from perspective of health, but if this helps anybody, even with any other aspects of their life, definitely share it with them, as it could be life changing for a lot of people. Because so let's talk about in health and being indecisive. So when it comes to health, one of the common things I see, people have been suffering for so many years, and when we do start working with the clients, they all come to us when they've been kind of through the road of they've tried every specialist or every doctor, and now they're kind of trying to do something alternative or trying to take a different approach to their health. And I do talk to a lot of clients. I don't end up working with everyone I talk to because either they're not good fit or they're indecisive. And if they're not decisive, we usually don't end up working with them. The reason behind it is because if they're indecisive, it's just sending them a signal that, hey, if we start working together, everything I ask them to do to improve their health, they won't make the decision and won't do it, or they will keep putting it off, which in return doesn't get them the results they come to me for. So, one of the things that commonly happen is get a clarity on what you want with your health, especially. What I mean by that is, see, one of the common things we have kind of come on, when I say come under, meaning one of the common things when it comes to health part of it is we've kind of become accustomed to quick fixes. Fix it now. Fix it now. Short-term fix. Band-aid solutions, which are all great for that temporary, for that day or two or weeks, but they don't get you results in the long run. What I mean by that is if you get a quick fix, you're going to feel better for short term, and eventually you're not going to feel better. So with medicine, all it's doing is giving you a quick fix. So people go through that medicine route and they took those medications, and obviously eventually the medications stop working and they take more medications, and they obviously get frustrated and they want to stop going that route because they've had enough, which is a smart decision because if it's not working, you want to find an alternative way. But what happens is, even though they decide that they don't want to go to the whole medical route, or they don't want to go to the route where they're going to be taking pharmaceuticals or medications or drugs, but they want to take an alternative route, which is holistic or alternative, whichever style of practice they want to kind of follow. But they still end up bringing this idea that they had in the medical model or the conventional model, which is the belief of quick fix. What I mean by that quick fix, if you take the belief of quick fix and then you're taking that belief when you're trying to go to alternative route or holistic route or natural route, and you take that quick fix belief into that route, it's not going to work out great. And if there is a doctor who does that or healthcare profession who does do quick fixes with alternative, then if that's what you want, definitely do it. I am all up for it. What I mean by I'm all up for it, meaning doing it naturally, getting a quick fix naturally is better than taking pharmaceutical, by no means. That's always better. So, when I say that, I say respectfully because I want you if people could get better symptom relief with natural remedies compared to pharmaceuticals, always natural remedies. But you got to understand that when you're still, even with the natural remedies, if you're still going with the mindset or belief of a quick fix, it's not going to get you the wrong long-term resolution. So what it happens is, after a while, even with that natural remedies, you got that quick fix for a short-term period of time. But after a while, you don't get results and you get frustrated. Now, this is where you start telling yourself, oh, it doesn't work, or it's just all me. But you have to kind of clear up, get a clarity. Hey, do I want, even with the natural route that I'm trying to go with, do I want a quick fix natural route? Or do I want something that's going to give me transformation or long-term resolution? So once you get that clarity, now what happens? Because what happens, and I see this, even me being a holistic natural healthcare practitioner, there's so many of them out there, and I'm not bashing on them. They all do everything with the great heart. Their intent is great. We all want to help people as much as possible. But what happens is some of the practitioners, not all, I'm not saying the practitioner you're working with is in this kind of style of practice, but some, I've seen it a lot of times, is a patient goes to them or client works with them, but they're just giving that band-aid solutions. Is take this supplement for that symptom or take this for that symptom. And again, people do get results for short term, but ultimately they don't get the long-term fix or transformation. And they get frustrated and they say, hey, the alternative or the holistic route doesn't work. Now, when some other practitioner who comes around crosses, when I say crosses your path, meaning through some sort of advertising or newspaper ad or postcard or whatever that may be, they come across you and you look at them, it's like, oh, it doesn't work. It's all gimmick, or it's all hoax, or whatever thought or belief that you built up. But one of the things I want you to understand is when you look at holistic path, if you're working with the holistic path, you got to go for a long-term gains, not short-term fix. You got to go for long-term transformations and resolutions, not short-term quick fixes. So, if you're working with a holistic practitioner that's giving you short-term band-aids, how do I know that? I don't, because until I talk to that practitioner, I wouldn't know it. But that's something you got to recognize. And if that's the route you want to take for the rest of your life, definitely do it. So that's going to that will help you become decisive, because, once you understand that, hey, this is the route I want to take. Now, if you do come across another holistic practitioner who's, again, does quick fixes, when I say quick fixes, gives you a supplement to help you with your symptom and you feel better, and that's what you want, great, awesome. That will help you. You're in better shape than other people who are taking pharmaceuticals. But if you're looking for a long-term fix, meaning if you're looking for a solution where, hey, not only I want to get it fixed, but I want to learn how to stay there. I want to learn everything about my health. When I say my health, meaning my own personal health, and learn how to apply everything, all the knowledge I have, all the information I have pertaining to my health. So not only I get healthier, I stay there. So therefore, my need, or when I say my need, meaning my need for seeking out other healthcare professionals, such as holistic or conventional model, is not there anymore, because I know everything I need to know about my health. So therefore, I'm not constantly seeking out this doctor or that doctor or that doctor, because not only I fixed my problem, but I also understood everything I needed to understand about my health and how to apply the knowledge I've learned and how to apply it pertaining to my health, so I could stay healthy. So get a clarity. So when I say talk about clarity, is get a clarity as to what your goals are, short term, long term, whichever goals you set for yourself. If it's what do you want your health to look like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? Once you get that idea of what you want to look like, then try to understand which approach or which path do you want to take. If it's a path of conventional model, seek that out, if that makes sense to you. If there's a holistic or model path where you take supplements for short-term fixes for your symptoms, seek that out if that's what that is. If there's a path that's where it's not only about fixing your health but also teaching you about how to be healthy and stay there, and if that's the path you want to take, then seek that out. But get clarity, because until you get that clarity, what happens is every time something comes around you, when I say around you, across you, or when you do come across some holistic practitioner or program or a diet or whatever you want to call it, what happens, you hear them, you hear what they have to offer, what they're all about, but afterwards all you end up saying is like, that's not for me, or not right now, or I need to kind of check out other things, what they are all about. And then obviously you go to the second holistic practitioner and you check them out and you say the same thing. It's like, I need to compare with another practitioner, and you compare him with another practitioner, which is all great, because it's your decision. You want to make the best decision for yourself, so which I respect that. But if all those three different practitioners have a different style of practice, then it's almost like comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruits, but they're different types of fruits. So this is where indecisiveness comes in. And I see this all the time. A lot of times patients are like, no, hey, or clients are like, they work with somebody else and if they're having a hard time making a decision, if what we have to do is, what we have to offer is the right path for them or not. And they're not able to make a decision because, again, in their head, what they're looking for is not congruent with what I have to offer. And which is okay if that's what but a lot of times the reason they can't make a decision is because they're trying to compare, like I said, apples to oranges. They're comparing us to some other practitioner who has a completely different style of practice, to other practitioner who has a completely different style of practice, and they try to compare it and they don't see any resemblance, or so therefore not only with us, they don't end up making decisions on any of those three. And again, if they don't make any decision on any of those three things, they're stuck with their health where they are, and their health constantly keeps deteriorating. So first thing, one of the first steps you could take is get a clarity on what your goals about your health are. When I say goals are, where do you want to be next 5, 10, 20 years? And what path, meaning what, how do you want to get there? Because once you get the idea on what you want and how to get there, then people who will show you path, when they come across you or when you see them, it will become easy to make that decision. Because as long as you don't know the path you want to take or where you want to go, there's going to be people coming all around you who could say, hey, I could take you there. Or when I say take you there, I mean take you to your goal. But you're not going to be able to make a decision because you don't even know what your goals are, or you don't even know what your path you want to take. You know, so this is one way to avoid indecisiveness or becoming more decisive. The second thing is it's not even your fault. And this is I just learned, once I learned about it, meaning I was watching one of the spiritual guru, an expert, and he was talking about it. So, and which kind of made sense to me. So I'm going to share it with you all as to what is, our brain, as much as we've evolved as humans and as a society, but our brain, you know, uh, amygdala he talked about. It's part of the brain. It's there. So our brain is ancient brain. So it's old, right? So our brain has a negative bias. So what I mean by that negative bias is, uh, you know, in order to understand negative bias, why it's programmed into our brain, it's there for a defense mechanism. What I mean by that, defense mechanism or survival mechanism in a way. What I mean by that is, let's go back to our ancestors, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They either got their food by hunting or growing. The society was not like what we have today. It was a lot different society. Their fears were animals. If they went out to farming, there could be animals who could kill them for that matter. If they go hunting, there could be animals or other factors that could take their lives in a second. So, so when they were out there in jungle or parts of the world trying to get through their day or their life for that matter, if they came across something, they had to look at it from the negative bias as to this is not good, or this could kill me, or this could take my life, or this could break my bones, or this could hurt me in any way possible. So it was a negative bias, which again, it's a great mechanism for survival. Because if they were in jungle and they just saw a deer just walking by, for example, and all these years they're like, okay, the deer just it's a hard to hunt a deer, and all of a sudden the deer is just right there. There's something fishy here. They got to look at it from that negative bias so they could make the best judgment to stay themselves or their friends or family member around them. But obviously, those kind of decisions has gone away in our society today. We don't have those kind of decisions to make. If you got it, if you walk outside your house, you're not gonna have to worry about a tiger or a lion jumping at you. You're not gonna have to worry about some poisonous snakes or other animals biting you to take your life away. You know, so that fear is not there anymore. But the negative bias is still present. This is why you could do, for example, if you're in business or work, you might do the best presentation. You could do 99 things perfect, but if you did that one bad thing, you're gonna get that feeling that, oh, I did not do a good job, or they're not, people in the audience are not gonna like my presentation. Same thing. Somebody could do 100 things, especially looking in relationships for that matter, husbands, wives, we do all the time. I do it all the time. Is you know people could do so many good things for you, but they do that one bad thing, and we just create that bias that, oh, that's not that person is not right, or they're not a good person. Or when I say not good person, meaning we create that bias, with people, with many things. So the negative bias is it's a negative bias is built into our brain. So when you come across, so when we talk about health programs, you know when you do come across, let it be our programs or any other programs, you hear everything they have to say. It makes sense, but your brain is telling you, like, there's a catch, there's a catch, there's a catch. This is not for you, or he's lying, or whatever that is, whatever that is. And it's perfectly normal. I want you to understand that. I want you to understand that it's part of the brain. It is creating that negative bias for you. That person, so that program, that if you've been trying to, let's say, lose weight or beat your autoimmunity or defeat your diabetes, whatever you're trying to do, If there, that program could talk about it 100%, is like, you know what, this is exactly what I want, and they could say that one thing, and that's going to trigger like, whoa, I'm just going to take a step back, and now I need to think about it, or it's not for me, or not right now, or I need to take days to think about it, or I need to compare it to somebody, or I need to talk it over. Which again, they're all your decision. I'm not trying to make your decision for yourself, but I mean, on your behalf. But I want you to understand is why that happens. And the reason being is most of the time when people get indecisive, if they say I'm going to think about it, they don't think about it honestly. Most of the time people are going to think about it because that negative bias just kicked in. They were just trying to say that so they could make themselves feel better that, hey, I'm making the best decision possible for myself. But no, a lot of times they don't even think about it. It's just the way to kind of say, not make a decision, be indecisive. They don't even say no, nor do they say yes. But they somehow kind of end up saying, I gotta think about it. They somehow end up saying them to themselves, so they feel, I guess, a little better that, hey, I'm doing something positive, or I'm taking some sort of action to get my health back in order. I guess I don't know what the whole thinking behind that is, but you got to understand that we have that negative bias built into us, and how do you overcome that? Uh, you know, you got to go on into your intuition, meaning your gut feeling. What I mean by gut feeling is if there is a program, or you do come across a presentation or a doctor or an expert, and you're listening to them and it makes sense, and your gut feeling tells you it makes sense, then it does make sense. And that's a lot of times, if, again, placebo kicks in too, right? Because if you really believe in it, it's definitely going to work for you. And placebo is way, there's more and more research coming out on placebo. But the point I'm trying to make is it's really hard to conquer that whole negative bias because it's built into our brain. So there is no way of getting that out of there. But now you understand what that is, so you could become decisive. Because all this time, if you didn't even know that was in there, you're just going to constantly be indecisive in every aspect of your life. And which is, again, if it's work, business, personal life, relationships, family, health, you're not going to make the decision. And again, I say bad decision is better than no decision. So yeah, either you could say no or yes, but if you did say yes, and if it turned out to be a bad decision, you still learn something from it. What I mean by still learn something from it as to what not to do. Thomas Edison, I think, I can't remember if it was 1,000 times or 10,000 times he failed before he came up with a solution or a way to make a light bulb. And when he was asked, he's like, why did you not give up after so many times? He's like, no, I figured out 900 or 99 or 1,000 times, or I don't know the exact number, but that many times I figured out how not to make a light bulb. So, but at the end of the day, he got a light bulb and he gets credit for it. He's one of the known scientists of in time, in our generations. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to be decisive in regards to your health. You cannot keep putting it off. There is never going to be a perfect program, according to you, will ever come into your life or just fall into your lap. It's just not going to happen. So first, get a clarity on your goals and how you want to get to your goals. When I say how, meaning, do you want to take a quick fix conventional model, drug medicine model? Do you want to take a quick fix natural supplement model? Do you want to take a long-term resolution where you not only get a fix, but you also learn, understand how to apply the information you learn? Whichever how that is you want to take. So get a picture on it. So because that will help you. So when you start coming across this health experts, doctors, programs, modules, protocols, whatever you call it, when you start coming across those, you'll be able to make a decision. It's, hey, yes or no. Because what ends up happening is then what you're going to end up, because if you don't get there, what ends up happening is you end up gathering data or information on 20 different doctors or protocols or programs or experts, and you have them sitting in your notebooks. You probably won't even compare them. You think you're trying to make progress in your life with your health by taking those notes or taking all the information that every expert or program expert or doctor is giving you, but you're not pulling trigger on any of those. When I say pulling trigger, you're not taking action on any of those, which in return is destroying your health. And second thing, understand that we all have negative bias built into our brain. So anytime, you know, if things make sense, and if there's that less than, certain percentages doesn't make sense, or tells you it's a negative bias that's built into our, that's telling you that, hey, look at it from the defensive perspective, or survival mechanism, or hey, there's a catch, or this is going to end up costing me more, whatever, and that's a negative bias we have built into it. So now you know that it's there. So now this, hopefully, when you do come across something like that, you're able to make better decision. Because, again, when it comes to health, most of the time people think, and this is why I like doing this kind of videos, is because people think it's just information is what gets them healthy. And, information it's needed. It is definitely needed, but it's not the solution anymore. And if information actually solves problems, we have abundance of information at our fingertips right now. Google, YouTube, Facebook. You could just type in words and you have so much information there. Yeah, we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker. So it's not information, it's some of the roadblocks we have with our thinking, some of the, when I say obstacles, when it comes to making decisions, it's some of the, so many other aspects other than just information goes into when we talk about true health transformation. Not quick fixes, true health transformation. Because if you really want true health transformation, your health has to be looked at from many, many different aspects of it. Spirituality, mindset, the information, execution of information, plans. All those things has to be understood. Just not one aspect of it. Just not information. Just not supplements or this or that. A true transformation happens is when you understand all aspect all around it. So therefore your decision making gets easier. Therefore your implementation on the program, if you're trying to follow any program, becomes easier. Therefore your understanding on that program becomes easier. So therefore once you do go through that program or finish through that program, the compliance gets better in the long run. Therefore your ability to stay healthy gets better because now you understand everything, and now you have mindset on how to apply those things in a systemic, proper way to stay healthy for the rest of your life. So you're not constantly knocking on the doctor's doors or next, fad program or next, new thing out there. Because there's always going to be a new thing out there. But you got to truly understand from all aspect of our, when I say all aspect, you got to look for mindsets, belief, spirituality, information, application. When I say applying information, all that plays a role. So get clarity on your goals, on how to get there. Know that we have negative bias built into us. Once you understand those two things, you will become more decisive. So Dr. Patel here, checking out. I hope this was helpful. Definitely share it with somebody, even if it's not health related. If this helps somebody with making decision when it comes to their business, profession, school, family, relationship, share with them as well, as this could be life changing. Take care. Have a good rest of the day.